So, hello, Ramin.
Hey,
And
how
so
are you?
we've arrived at the conclusion of Killer Queen. And
Yeah,
yeah, before we get into this discussion, I just have to tell the story of how I discovered Killer Queen. I was actually perusing the catalog of the Vancouver International Film Festival films, and I came across Killer Queen in the description and how it was, a grindhouse movie made in the present day. And I watched the trailer and I was just like, we have to see this movie. We have to, we have to have it submitted for consideration at Reelworld. And so I went on this wild goose chase to try to track you down. And I actually wound up finding your composer. And that's how I wound up
yeah,
tracking
yeah, yeah.
you over. We're very glad. And so
I'm glad too.
we
Thank you.
showed it. We showed it to the other programmers. They loved it, and we programmed it. And now you're here, and it's wonderful to have you here.
Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you very much.
So yeah, about your film, it's interesting. After one of our programmers watched it, they said that Killer Queen, that your film, it's reminiscent of Jean-Luc Godard. I mean, did you set out to make a grindhouse movie with a French New Wave kind of flavor, or talk us
Uh,
about that? Yeah.
yeah, I no, not I didn't do that necessarily. I didn't do it by intention, but yeah, French New Wave, of course, is big part of my journey to in cinema during these years, and Godard, yeah, is an important figure for me for sure because at the end of it, we are independent filmmaker, and whatever we do is going towards the independence, being underground, being So Godard is very important. I don't know how much he affected. Yeah, I've heard from other people too, especially regarding my cinematography. They always talk about French New Wave
The
cinema.
cinematography is
But
amazing.
yeah, thank you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It must be influence for sure. I'm sure there is.
Do you see yourself as an enfant terrible in cinema?
No, no. Uh, no. I'm just trying to, experience a lot of things with cinema, with this medium. So I don't know where do I go, but what I know is there are a lot of things that I want to talk about them, and they are not similar necessarily to each other in terms of genre, in terms of theme, mood, everything, story. So hopefully I can try. I want to try more and more. That's what I want to do.
Well, you've said that mood and dream are like your big inspirations, or and can you talk about how you kind of incorporate that into your filmmaking process? And
Yeah, it is a search, especially mood. Mood, it's most important part of my work, and it starts from writing a script. When I write a script, I always listen to music, and the music that I listen to is usually the backdrop of what is happening between the characters and inside the scene. It starts from that, and it continues during the pre-production. Choosing the costume, production design, as you know, is very important to convey the mood, and weird dialogues, weird human relationship. Yeah, yeah. I really want to make mood. I want to make my own word of a story, and mood plays an important part in it.
well, everything. I mean, you talked about production design, whatever. Everything was just explicitly deliberate. The mise en scène, and how things were laid out, and the composition, and so forth. And you also mentioned how you listen to music to get into the mood. I'm curious, did you listen to Queen while you were thinking of this?
Yeah, I always listen to Queen. Yeah,
Was
Queen
that
is my
inspired by Queen?
yes, yes. Queen is my favorite band. The Killer Queen song, it's not related to this movie at all, but Queen itself and Freddie Mercury, yeah, has a big role in whatever I do. Because their music, their music is like a rock, uh, and my film also, if you look at it, if you want to translate it, the music genre is a rock punk. It's similarity between what they do and what I do.
Well, Queen's music, it's like rock punk, but it has, a very kind of like classical.
Yeah, a lot of elements. Yeah, a
And
lot of elements.
that's interesting because you have your movie, it's like this grindhouse kind of movie, but it's also got these elements of
Yes.
just classical filmmaking in it. So
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
I realized I didn't ask you to introduce yourself properly.
Oh yeah.
Yes, please introduce yourself.
Okay. My name is Ramin Fahrenheit. This is my first feature film. This was my first feature film that you just watched, Killer Queen. I started shooting it from 2016. Back in 2016, it took 3 years to finish this, and that's it.
Well, it's amazing that it's your first, it's your first feature film, because it just has such a command of the vision. Like, it's just a unified vision. And also, you wear many hats in this film. I mean, you started it, you directed it, you produced it, you edited it, and you shot it on 8mm, which is incredible. Can you walk us through that process?
Yeah. So the way that they made this movie was like, I just wrote the script, and we decided to make it with my wife, Fatima Maziani, who is the lead of this movie. And so what we did was, even from the in the stage of writing, we knew that we are making it independently. So we divided it to some short stories. As you saw, there are sequences. In each sequence, a character comes and goes, and the girl is always there. The lead actress is always there, but with different characters and in different short stories. So that's how we could make it. We made it like whenever we had some money, we could collect some money, a location, some actors. We shot one sequence, and then we go to the next, and that's why it took a long time to make it. Super 8, it was a great choice. I like it. I'm proud of it. Maybe it's not the choice that I want to do in my next film or other films, but for this one, especially because of the mood, still again because of the mood that this the feeling, the texture that the Super 8 has, it adds to the darkness, it adds to unknownness of the story, it adds to everything. Also, the colors. I think Super 8 has different red and different green color compared to 16 and 35. It's so pure and so intense, especially when you shoot at night, and I loved it. Yeah.
And I love that you mentioned that you probably wouldn't, your next project, you shoot it on Super 8, because it shows that every detail of your film was all about that film. Like, you were trying to do it for that vision and not necessarily for your own tastes.
Yes.
You were doing what was right for that kind of
yes.
Where did that red vintage car come from?
Which is the car in Toronto, you can rent it.
Oh, really?
There are places they rent classical cars in Toronto. Fortunately, this is another thing. Toronto is an important city for filmmakers. The amount of resources here is, you can't believe, because I lived in UK, I did filmmaking everywhere, but Toronto, grants, the organizations, charities, this is amazing. In Toronto, you can do whatever you want. In other city in the world, probably most of them I couldn't make even on film.
Wow, that's interesting to hear. That's a really useful tip for all our kind of aspiring
yes.
filmmakers to hear that as well. And I talked about the attention to detail in your film, and we talked about Fatima, how her performance is just stand out. It was amazing, and the wig, the cutting herself. And
yes.
So, how did she find her character?
We almost wrote it together, because we are husband and wife. When I write, I talk to her all the time about what I wrote. She talked to me. It's a completely brainstorming happening. And at some point, we decided that Fatima should play, and that was because of the artistic reasons, and mostly because of the practical reason that we could have her reliably attached to the project up to the end. So, but how she got prepared for the role, I think she did a little bit of method acting in this, because she got hurt. during the process. A little bit, not much, but a little bit. But you should ask from her. I don't know.
So you said that she's a method actress. Would you say that you were kind of a method writer as you were writing the script? You know, just getting yourself like into the mood of it.
I love method acting, but in terms of method writing, I'm not sure because, as you mentioned, I I use all the traditional rules of cinema. So in that regard, I don't know if I can call myself method writer.
Interesting. Would you interpret Killer Queen as an exploitation film? I mean, I would say no. I don't think that you're trying to make something like ironic that a lot of grindhouse exploitation films were for cheap thrills and chills and so forth. It seems that you see grindhouse as a legitimate art form, and like and the dubbed dialogue was just so careful how it was just a little bit
yeah.
at times, and the synthesized score, it just adds to the ambiance. So I mean, what are your thoughts on like, do you see this as an exploitation film, or are you trying to take exploitation and make it into like an art form? How would you interpret that?
Yeah, I think it's a serious art form, exploitation, and it should come back. I make a film that is not out there. I make it because it's not out there. I just want to make it to watch it. So we need more grindhouse. We need more exploitation movies. Yeah, I definitely think it's a serious art form.
Well, who are your grindhouse kind of filmmakers that you like, inspirations, like Ross Meyers, Melvin Van Peebles, like certain filmmakers that you in particular kind of twig to of that era, in that movement?
Yeah, a lot of them. Yeah, from John Carpenter, Brian De Palma. The whole 60s, end of the 60s and 70s era is the golden era for me, for our generation of filmmaker. This is the golden part.
You mentioned Brian De Palma. I never thought about it, but his movies do have a grindhouse feel. I never thought about it. Like
it has.
It was a blow up or blowout. I know it was. He did a remake of the Antion. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right.
Yes.
Yeah, because that has
John Travolta.
Yeah, and Carrie even has a kind of that Dress to Kill and so forth.
Yeah,
so,
definitely. It's in their blood. These are the people who invented the business. The Groundhouse is coming from U.S. United States kind of hip artists, and it was a kind of a response to kind of a new Hollywood movement that started with Scorsese. But some people went towards this way, more exploitation than.
It seemed that they were trying to take what the kind of the European filmmakers were doing, the French.
Yeah. It's continuously.
They're trying to make it commercially viable, but then there were some filmmakers of that era, like you said, like De Palma or whatever, who were just like, I'm going to lean into kind of like the the more the grindhouse aspect of it, which is
yes, yeah.
And are you inspired by? I mean, Brian De Palma now, I mean, we still see some kind of characteristics of him as we did back. But are you inspired by him now? Like, did that inform Killer Queen at all, or was it more his work in the 70s or 80s?
I don't think the problem is with the filmmaker. I think the problem is with the world. The world is going in different way, and as much as filmmaker or other artists want to cope with this, they just hurt themselves. I don't think artist has a responsibility to be the only thing that the artist should do is to be truthful and not to be boring. That's the only scene. I don't think other responsibilities in that. So whatever they do is okay.
I see. What was I going to say? Oh yeah. I talked about the score in my programmer notes. I said that it puts John Carpenter to shame. The score is just incredible. I loved it. That synthesized. Can you walk through how that was conceptualized?
Yeah, I found Norman Orenstein, my composer, and we talked about this film. I already shot the film, but I didn't edit it yet. But I shot. I had the rushes, and I went to Norman, and we talked about the film, and he liked it. And then we talked about the reference to because he wanted to direction, and the reference was French, part of the French New Wave, particularly the movie La Samurai. And he added some elements of jazz to it. I love the score. I like it. It's like he is wearing this score, you know, to the movie. It's so fits to the movie. I love it.
Yeah, definitely. It's just like, you know, it heightens, it just like it's definitely very much kind of establishes the mood throughout, and you know, like,
Exactly.
you
Yeah.
know, more sad scenes and so forth, and whatever. But yeah. And what are your future plans for filmmaking? You said you're making a film right now. Oh, I had one question before that. You
Yeah.
mentioned
Go.
editing. Did you edit it on a flatbed? How did you edit this? Did you digitize it? How did you? Yeah.
Yeah, I digitized it. Yes, we shot on Super 8. We sent it to a lab for the process. They sent it to a scanner. They scanned the negatives and they digitize it, and then we edit it on a computer.
And that's another benefit of living in Toronto. I'm sure it's nowhere
Yes,
easy to process and, you know,
exactly,
you know,
exactly. Exactly.
digitize film as it was maybe, you know, like 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, another benefit to being here.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that you're making a film right now. Walk us through that. So you said it's different from this film? Is it different from?
Yeah, we are actually we are actually experimenting a lot right now with the medium. But yeah, the film is kind of yeah, it's dreamy, has horror element in it, probably more fun and humor, hopefully.
Is
But
Fatima,
yeah,
is Fatima,
Fatim,
yes.
no, Fatima, we are not sure. Yeah, maybe she has a role in this too, but she's not the lead. No.
So what are the kind of lessons that you took from Killer Queen that you're incorporating into this film now?
Oh, a lot. Yeah, that Killer Queen was my famous. I went to the film school, but Killer Queen was my real film school. A lot I learned, as you mentioned, about ADR, about about shooting on film, the process of raising money. It's everywhere. You can use the filmmaking is a process of it's a hands-on process. You should it's learning by doing for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I have a background in design, and we always used to be told that, you know, you should get a job you should get a job on a construction site just to see, like, and I feel like it's the same with film. I feel like every filmmaker has to make at least one film on actual film, you know, and
Yes.
kind of to kind of get a sense of, you know, because when the problem with over digitizing is it doesn't really kind of like, you know, you don't really have the same parameters. I think I feel like when you're shooting on film, like, did you shoot the edit out of curiosity? How did you storyboard? You know, but you had to be economical, obviously, because you're shooting on film.
No, I didn't storyboard. I never do a storyboard, but yes, for sure that changes everything because you have to rehearse and you have to know your shot, and it's easier in editing too because you don't have that tens of hours of footage. I only had my ratio was about 3 to 1. So for 90 minutes of a film, it's 270 minutes of a rush. That's amazing because when you put your rushes together, it's you almost has no choice because everything is there. Uh, so it's easier in edit. It's easier when you think. It's a little bit harder when you shoot because you should decide, but the rest is easier without digital.
I heard a rumor. I don't know if this is true. I heard a rumor that M. Night Shyamalan does not storyboard or he create a shot list because he shoots the edit. He has it in his head.
Yeah. It's possible.
Is
Yes.
that what you do? You know, you know, okay, this is going to be like a wide. This is going to be a close up. You know,
You have to. You have to. The way that we work, independent filmmaker, the cinematographer is the editor, because when you shoot, you know what is going to happen later on. You can't shoot from, you can't go from a wide shot, establishing shot, to the extreme close up. And you know it when you shoot, before even going to the editing suite.
And that's another thing I noticed about your film. It doesn't feel like television. You know, you don't cut it for performance. You're cutting it for mood. You're cutting it for emotion.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
and that's what you were thinking of as you were,
Yes.
shooting it. Like you were thinking, this is going to be one take here. I'm not going to like just shoot from a wide and shoot from a close up and then put it together in editing. So you were trying to capture the emotion of the moment.
Yes, I tried. Yeah.
Which is very interesting. But yeah.
Thank you.
Is there anything else you wanted to share about?
Thank you. Thanks for watching film. Thanks everyone for watching film.
Any messages you have for any for all our up and coming filmmakers?
Yes, just make movies. We need your movies, and I need your movies for sure. I watch everything. I watch everything that I can see, from YouTube to movies to Netflix, everything. Just make movies, because if you make movie, and even if you are not a filmmaker, I encourage you to make movie. If you make movie and it's truthful, it doesn't matter if it's professional. I think it's better not to be professional, because when you want a professional, you fake it. If it's movie and it's truthful, it's amazing, because we can see the inside of another person. So I encourage everyone to make movie.
Yeah, you're providing a lens through which other people can kind of see your perception of the world, your truth, as you were talking about, you know, which is a great thing to have. And you know, it's really interesting how kind of I talked about digitizing and technology, but a really, really good thing about technology is that it's democratized filmmaking.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah, that's amazing. Yes.
It only be the domain of a select few, but now more than other people can.
Everyone can do it. Yes.
So, are you going to make a film on your iPhone at one point or other?
Maybe. Yeah, I'm not really. Yeah, I'm not against anything. I just, as I said, I just want to experience all the mediums and all the, abilities. So I'm still working on cinema. Yeah, maybe iPhone works too. Let's see.
So, where's Killer Queen headed next, or?
What's that?
Where's Killer Queen headed next?
Oh, next. Hopefully with the festivals like this, we can have more, talk to more people. But also I want to send it to some distributors for online streaming, Amazon. I didn't send it because of the festival run. We have to make it, for the festival. And from Reelworld on, I can do it. So
that's great to hear.
Let's see. Yeah. Wish me luck.
But yes, I mean, thank you all. Thank you for joining us very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having my movie in your festival.
Well, it was our pleasure. Thank you for making such a great movie, and give our regards to all the creatives involved with the movie as well. So yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Yes. Finishing up our interview with Ramin Fahrenheit of Killer, director, editor, producer, cinematographer. Was there anything I'm missing?
Production designer, actor.
And production designer of Killer Queen. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.